Hello, my name is Germana Ravanelli. I come to you from Nanaimo, BC, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. And this video is going to be what are anti-foods? Um, I was saying that to someone a while ago about anti-foods, and they're like, what's an anti-food? And I'm like, an anti-food is something that actually hurts you. And it's convenient and it's easy and it tastes good. And what these lovely corporations have done over the last probably 40 years is they've scientifically modulated the food so it stimulates a part of our brain that does the same thing as a good hit of morphine or a good hit of heroin or a good hit of something that gets the brain receptors just to go, oh my God, this feels so good. So they've actually created chemical processes in our processed food that we get high on. And then we don't like normal food. You're like, what? I have to eat a carrot? Are you kidding me? And then what happens from that is people don't even know how to cook. They don't know what real food is. And they go into processed food death spiral. I mean, all that you need to do, and this is an exercise that you might do this week if you happen to go shopping, and the best place to go when you're shopping is all the way around all of the aisles because that's where the real food sources are on the outside. But when you look at people's shopping carts, look what's in their shopping cart and look at their belly. And if there's a lot of pop and potato chips and high processed and cereals, they're usually going to look like they've swallowed one or two or three of their pillows. And it's because their body can't handle the insulin spike. So their brain's being deregulated. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. And that also sends out a signal that you're not satisfied. So you keep eating. And that's legal in Canada and the States. I mean, look at the States. They're much worse than us. But they're changing that now. They're doing some real cleanup on this. It's a form of covert murder because you cannot keep eating poison and expect your body to function. You cannot. So I'm going to read off some of the anti-foods. And, the reason I will share this with you is I often will have people, come in and they want me to help them lose weight. And I'm like, man, you got about 6 months of getting this body stable before your body will release any fat. The body will hold on to fat to protect itself. And the chemicals that we're eating in our food gets processed and held in the fat cells because they're too toxic for our liver and our kidneys to process in large amounts. So it's like your body creates these little cells all over the place full of poisons, toxins that it doesn't want to process. It's trying to keep them out of your organ system because could create death. And in some cases it does. Like, I'm going to go off topic, but there has been and there still is a hormone therapy that you can get online, and you can also get it from a naturopath where they give you hormones that tells your body that you're pregnant, and so that you need all these calories. But with the hormone process, they only give you 400 or 500 calories a day, and so your body starts catabolizing this amounts of fat, like in large amounts. And if you're going to do something like that, you definitely want to do it with a doctor. And then, so they cycle this hormone that tells your body that you're pregnant. So you need all these extra calories, but then they cut the calories, and you're eating real food, by the way. And then once you're done, I think it's called the HGL diet. I think that's the name of it. I would never use it. I've seen clients do it. They don't keep the weight off, by the way. And then usually, was it 3 months later, they're down 20, 30 pounds. And what happens is because they've done it through this artificial way of getting their body to catabolize the fat, they haven't learned the lifestyle hacks to get their body in that place or to even maintain it. Most diets, unfortunately, don't work. They have to be lifestyle related. And as we get older, we handle insulin spikes poorly, and we all get a little bit bigger, and we all lose a little bit of muscle. And there are things you can do to outsmart that and outrun it in a way, or just find a way around it. But those are conversations that you would have with somebody that you trust that is actually demonstrating that that's possible. So there was a few people that would go online and buy this diet online that were so full of toxins, and they'd go on this hormonal regime where you're not allowed to eat but about 500 calories a day. And a few of them went into a cardiac arrest and died because the amount of toxins that were released from their fat cells exceeded their liver's capacity to process it. And if you're not processing it and then defecating it out, then it just goes around and around and you get poisoned. And these foods bring this right into our body. I'm not trying to be too negative, but what is an anti-food? Something that provides no value. It's like a thief, a friend that's a thief. Like, would you do that? Hopefully not. And you don't want to be doing that as well with food. So the term anti-food isn't a standard scientific term, but is often used in holistic, alternative, or nutritional circles to describe foods or substances that harm rather than nourish the body. These are typically items that provide little to no nutritional value, may interfere with digestion or nutrient absorption, could contribute to inflammation, toxicity, or disease. Here's some examples of anti-foods, highly processed foods. These are what people love. And you know what? They hijack your brain. So somebody and something else is running your brain, which is, it should be criminal. Chips, potato chips, frozen dinners, instant noodles. My son loved those. Often full of preservatives, synthetic additives, and low in nutrients. Refined sugars and sweeteners. White sugar, high fructose corn syrup. And what this does is it spikes your blood sugar so high that it forces your body to start storing fat. The minute your insulin spikes, you go up, store fat, and then you crash and you need more. And anything that's made with corn sugar should be deemed about as toxic as you can ever get. Corn syrup and corn sugar makes traditional table sugar look like a health food. So sugar really ought to be out of the diet as much as possible. It causes inflammation and can disrupt your gut health. Now, your stomach is 70% of your immune system. So if your stomach's not running properly, you're losing about 70% of your ability to have a thriving immune system. Refined grains such as white bread, white rice, and many cereals. They did a study years ago that they had these dogs and they pulverized the cereal and gave it to the dogs to see if the dogs would live or how they went. One was the cereal and oil, and one was straight oil. And the dogs that were given the cereal died. And then they decided to give the dogs the box, pulverize the cardboard to see, and they lived off the cardboard. It's pretty sad. These items are stripped of fiber and nutrients during the processing, which means they're dead. There's nothing in them. If something doesn't rot, like if you put it in your cupboard and it never rots, little microbes aren't eating it, and neither should you. Like once in a while, but not a lot. Artificial ingredients, food dyes, preservatives, MSG, these disrupt hormones. Our hormones are messengers. They're not a supplement. They tell your system to work or to work poorly. When you have hormone deregulation, you can have mental health issues coming out of your yin yang, and you just don't feel well, cranky, miserable, tired. And hormone disruptors, they can give people problems that I'm not going to talk about, but it's partially a consequence of the so-called convenient foods. Trans fats and hydrogenated oils. These are found in margarine, seed oils, fast food, and packaged snacks. So I remember once I was teaching at one of the schools up here, and it said, trans fat free cottonseed or rapeseed oil is used in the deep fryer. And what I was so surprised is that cottonseed and rapeseed oil is a trans fat. And they were saying it's not. And I'll tell you why that happens, because the big corporations donate trillions and billions of dollars to our education systems with the caveat that they teach certain things. Rapeseed and cottonseed oil is a man-made seed It's not something that was around 100 years ago. And that's one of your tests. Was this around 100 years ago? Were my grandparents eating this? And if they were not, it's a frankenfood. It's an anti-food. Don't eat it. Or stop eating it for 6 months and see what happens. So these fats, they're called trans fats, hydrogenated fats, are linked to heart disease and illness and inflammation. Excess caffeine or alcohol. I love caffeine, but I only drink 2 cups a day and it's organic. In large amounts, these can dehydrate and burden the liver. These foods drain energy and they cause cravings. They suppress immunity. They damage cells or organs over time. They're foods that are termed against life because they don't help the body heal. They also lead to things like infertility. They strip nutrients from the body, and the body usually doesn't have much left unless you were lucky enough to be raised on a farm that wasn't using a lot of chemical sprays. So the challenge is learning how to make real food. Buy the brown rice or buy the white rice, use it, cook it, buy meat that came from a natural farm, buy eggs that came from a natural farm. Buy vegetables. Ideally, vegetables with real butter, organic butter, is the best thing that we can ever give our brain. If you eat a trans fat or a fat that has microtoxins in it, those microtoxins get stored in your body and in your brain. And then, you wonder why there's so many people that are depressed, that you're like, do you have a brain? Is it working? Oh, it must be hijacked. You're not using it. And it's often the exposure of stress in our world. We're all very stressed, and we need to manage ways to heal ourselves, to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we just go down with the machine. I call it the sausage making machine. We're being harvested. We're being fed garbage, and we like it. We're turning into little addicts. And it's convenient. The people that I get really sad for is the young people. They need to learn how to do something different. They need it modeled. I might add something like that to my channel at some point, because that's the future, and they're going to have babies. And I remember once I had a client, this was years ago, I did a lifestyle challenge, and the winner won a trip anywhere in the world. And the woman that won, she did really well, but I had to teach her how to cook. She didn't know how to cook meat. She didn't know how to cook potatoes or pasta or vegetables. She was buying everything out of a box with a peel back. And I was like, wow, that's scary, because you're going to multiply and your children are going to think that's normal. That's scary. That is abuse, and it's neglect, because our bodies can't live off of synthetic plastics. We need real food. So I hope that I've inspired you and not upset you too heavily. The more I learned about it, the more upset I got. And there was times I sat and wept, because I realized that most people were being treated horribly by this wonderful system that we have of food. We just like what's easy. We're tired. Just take it out of the freezer. It's better if you ask yourself, did my grandparents eat stuff like this? Like, nuts are awesome, but they're not, you don't want roasted nuts, because they're roasted in trans fats. Eggs, boiled eggs, fabulous, easy. I do protein powder, I do all of those things. But the point is that most of your diet, ideally 80%, needs to come from Mother Nature without being hyper-processed. Otherwise, you are working against yourself. And the most valuable asset you'll ever have as you get older is your health and your body. And you can think you got time, and all of a sudden you got no time. And now whatever money you've banked, you're spending trying to get back your health. Your health is everything. And what you put into your body is huge. It's the gasoline. What you think and say to yourself is going to either make you feel wonderful or it's going to destroy you, which is why I do hypnotherapy. The physical piece, critical. This is your home. Would you ever not look after your car or not look after your child? Like, that's insane. And yet most of us just think, oh, it's not that important, which is a limiting belief. That's a core wound. I don't matter. My needs don't matter. And that can be healed as well. So I'm going to sign off, and don't shoot the messenger. All I'm wanting to do is help you live your best life. And if you are interested in reading my book, it's called The Road to Transformation, Healing Generational Trauma by Germana Ravanelli, and it is about healing from abuse, neglect, torture, addiction, abusive relationships, and crawling out of the depths of a very tortured life. And now I'm a teacher. I teach people how to love themselves. And we do need good food. And just do what you can, do your best. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.